Authorities in Tampa say they've captured the man behind a string of murders in Seminole Heights. Police arrested Howell Donaldson III late Tuesday on a tip that led them to a McDonald's. Donaldson reportedly had a firearm at the fast food restaurant, and one of his co-workers reported it to a police officer. He's expected to be charged with 4 counts of first-degree murder. Investigators say they are still trying to figure out why the alleged killer carried out the attacks and why he chose this area. And big news from the broadcasting industry as NBC's Matt Lauer was fired. This comes after an employee filed a complaint about inappropriate sexual behavior in the workplace. Savannah Guthrie made the announcement at the top of the Today Show, where Lauer had been an anchor for 2 decades. NBC News chairman Andrew Lack said in a memo to staff that it was the first complaint lodged against Lauer in his career at the network. But he said, quote, "We were also presented with a reason to believe this may not have been an isolated incident." Guthrie said she was informed just moments before going on the air. Also in this morning's headlines, North Korea says it has successfully launched a new type of intercontinental ballistic missile. According to the North state-run media, the missile, launched Tuesday from the nation's capital, is capable of reaching all of the United States. Following the provocation, President Trump warned the U.S. will, quote, "take care of it," but did not say how. And the president travels to Missouri today to push tax reform. Yesterday, the Senate Budget Committee voted along party lines to advance the Republican tax plan to the full Senate. The development came on the same day 2 top Democrats skipped a meeting with President Trump on ways to avert a government shutdown. Now from the Bighorn County Courthouse, a hardened father pleads guilty to violently beating his 2-year-old daughter to death with a belt. 23-year-old Dana Redding Jr. entered a guilty plea on Tuesday afternoon to a charge of deliberate homicide. During the hearing, he admitted he had no reason to be upset with his daughter Isabella. Through a plea agreement, prosecutors will dismiss charges of aggravated assault and assault with a weapon and recommend a sentence of 50 years at the Montana State Prison. During Tuesday's hearing, Redding answered questions about the assault and said he did not intend to kill his daughter. Redding's wife, Cavanna Grace George, allegedly knew Redding had beat their daughter before, but never reported the abuse. She faces a charge of criminal child endangerment, but maintains her innocence. Authorities arrived at the home and transported the girl to the hospital, where she was pronounced dead. Medical staff said the victim had severe bruising all over her body and an opened head wound. Redding's sentence date is scheduled for January. Meanwhile, in the city of Laurel, can a city employee serve as mayor? The short answer is no. Laurel Mayor-elect Dave Wagner was told he will have to pick his current position as a water treatment operator or be the city's next mayor. The topic was discussed at Tuesday night's council meeting. Under Laurel's charter, the mayor has complete authority to terminate employees of the city.
The positions are incompatible. They're not compatible positions. If one was not supervising the other, if one could not terminate the other, we wouldn't have this problem. It's directly in your charter.
I have a heart for Laurel. I see what's going on in Laurel. I see the things that need done, and it seems like they're not getting done. That's why I ran for mayor, and that's why the people elected me.
Wagner said he doesn't want to challenge the legality of the city charter, but he won't give up. He has until January 2nd to make a decision. If he declines the mayor job, council would interview and appoint someone for the position, which comes with a $10,000 salary. Now to the east of us, oil is once again flowing through the Keystone Pipeline. A section of that pipeline in South Dakota was shut down 2 weeks ago after leaking 5,000 barrels of crude oil. TransCanada, the company that operates the Keystone, said the pipeline was restarted under reduced pressure. The restart comes on the same day that Keystone investors were told the proposed XL pipeline project will move forward. TransCanada says it's now working with landowners in Nebraska to secure the rights to build the new pipeline. But TransCanada says it's also asking the Nebraska PSC to reconsider the alternate route that was part of the state's approval last week. TransCanada says that alternate route will cost the company more and delay the project. The proposed Keystone XL is planned to pass through eastern Montana from Alberta, eventually ending in Nebraska, where it would connect to an existing pipeline to take crude to the Gulf Coast. Back here in Montana, a new warden is at the helm of the state women's prison here in Billings. Warden Jenny Hansen is a Billings native, graduating from Billings Central High School before going to college to pursue a career in law enforcement. Hansen said becoming a warden has been her dream career since high school. She spent most of her career in probation and parole, specifically dealing with those battling mental illness. Most recently, she oversaw 10 field offices while implementing new procedures and promoting the use of evidence-based practices like the risk and needs assessments to ensure more individualized and effective care.
We know that 80% of the women have some kind of trauma in their life, and there's a whole lot of intricate details to help with that. And I think that's the biggest goal that I have, is to ensure that we're using evidence-based practices with gender specifics, as well as making sure we're trauma-informed while keeping the community safe.
Warden Hansen says she also wants to improve the relationship and understanding between the prison and the community. She hopes to do that by educating the public on some of the beneficial programs run at the prison. And last, Montana is one of 11 states with a single area code, and according to the Public Service Commission, will stay a single area code state for years to come. On Tuesday, the PSC announced that the expected exhaustion date for the state's single area code has now been extended to 2031. Just 4 years ago, the PSC was told the 406 area code was expected to be exhausted by 2019. But the PSC adopted a new policy known as mandatory number pooling, which extends the area code's lifespan. Basically, it ensures that carriers don't sit on a bunch of unused phone numbers. Someday, population increases and a boom in cell phone subscriptions will overlap, and when that occurs, it will require an additional area code. Today, Montana has 1 million cell phone subscribers and 400,000 landline users.